Hello, friends. It's Ruben again here to show you more of my wonderful, wonderful toys. I planned something else for this spot, but that didn't work out. So I got a lot of toys. You know, for a guy who I didn't intend to jump into collecting figures very avidly, but I have a lot of toys. Anyway, it's mostly due to be working lots of conventions and having a lot of friends in the business, and also shrewd buying and haggling. Well, one set of toys, the biggest set of toys, is characters created by Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby is the most prolific and important creator of comic book characters, concepts, titles ever in history. A long-ass career from the 1940s through 1990s. He was still creating comics when he died in 94. I mean, they still found a bunch of stuff amongst his stuff. Anyway, he had lots of ideas. Stuff was constantly pouring out of this dude, man. It's insane. And most of it great. The vast majority, just fantastic stuff. And it just kept happening over and over again. For Timely Comics, there was Captain America with his partner Joe Simon. And then he went over to DC and created a whole bunch of stuff with Simon. Then they started their own comic book company for a while. Anyway, eventually he goes back to DC, dissolves the partnership, unfortunately, with Joe Simon, unfortunately for Simon. And he did some stuff for DC. But then finally he makes his way back to Marvel in like 1960 or 59 to 60. And just explodes there. Pretty much saves them because there was nothing happening there. But with Stan Lee, he just creates, many, a dozen. I mean, in the space of a few years, they created a dozen characters that just, that sang really, really well. Unfortunately, there aren't always first appearance versions of the figures. Like, there's never been a first appearance figure characters of the Fantastic Four, which is just, it's egregiously wrong. But anyway, I did manage to get some. I don't know where I got this, but I'm glad I did. Here's this Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is a nuclear age type, Jekyll and Hyde type of dude, you know, where he just can't control the blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to open this up. The original Hulk was gray. They intended him to be gray, but it didn't. But there was a problem with the, oh, that's very nice cutting. Man, I should have showed you that. The other colors around the stuff, the pages bled into the grays, and he was like a different color every time on every panel, depending on what color was around him. And but they decided when they looked at the published book, they saw one where he was greenish, and they liked that, so they ran with it. They ran with the green Hulk. So from 2 on, he was green. By the way, these figures it would come with a comic book in there, a reprint of Hulk 1. That's his very first appearance in the public mind there. Yeah. There he is in all his glory, the gray Hulk, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a Galactus arm. This is from a Build-A-Figure, which I will probably almost certainly never do. Galactus is yet another Kirby creation from much later in the Fantastic Four. Some would say, the most important thing that, yada yada. To give you an idea of how Kirby and Stan Lee worked together, Stan Lee said to Kirby, let's have the FF fight a big godlike dude. And Kirby's like, okay, got you. And he created Galactus. So that's the way it went. You just asked him to do something, and he knocked it out of the ballpark every damn time. And this time, son of a bitch. Yeah, maybe I should have, man, these things are really packed so they don't bounce around at all. I mean, they couldn't if they wanted to, could they? Alright, so the Hulk, right, sadly did not last very long. He didn't hit too well. It was very inconsistent in the beginning. It only went 6 issues, and it went through radical changes. Like, every issue, his status was completely different. And also, Lee had Ditko come in a few times and do some issues also. So here is Kirby-style Hulk. Man, that's hot. Good Lord. He's so big. He's so heavy. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there he is. It's the Hulk in his fantastic glory. So that is a really nice figure. He looks really good. So Kirby-style that it's fantastic and wonderful. Look at that Frankenstein-like mug, huh? Look at him. Nice haircut, buddy. that's the Hulk. There's another set of figures I'm going to show you. This is the only single figure I have from its earliest creations for Marvel in the early 60s. The Silver Age, as it was. And but there is a later version. There's another set of figures that I acquired through circumstance. Like I said, he went on to become a green guy. And obviously these figures are not to scale. I only got them because it was easy so to do. The price was right. But at some point, Lee got it into his head to start a team with many of the characters that Kirby had been creating. So the Avengers were born. And the Hulk was a key figure. He was the central figure. He was the guy that the guys were fighting, because he was a bit of an anti-hero. He would fight with heroes as often as villains. So these are not to scale with any of my other toys, but I have them through circumstances that occurred. Another central character, or an important guy in the Avengers, was Thor, of course. Ditko's version of the Norse thunder god Thor. It was Thor. It was machinations of Loki against Thor that got him together with the Hulk. He sent out a signal. He tried to get Thor and the Hulk to fight, but other people picked up on the radio signal, and among them Thor himself, but also the Iron Man. This is the second sort of armor that Iron Man sported in his career. The first one was pretty much the same except gray, again with the gray, and they dumped that on Iron Man very quickly and made him gold. They used to call him the Golden Avenger. Sometimes they still do, I guess. And by the way, this is really cool. You can take his helmet off there to see Tony Stark in his little mustachioed glory. Look at him, look at him, look at him, look at him. So that's pretty cool. And also, there were the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man was another one of those guys that just can't stand on his own. Can he? Didn't we work this out before, Hank? Didn't we talk about this? I think, yeah, okay, you know what? Why don't you lean on me? Okay, whatever. And then, of course, there's the Wasp, who was Ant-Man's partner, and then, ipso facto, the fifth Avenger. She will never stand. As I've mentioned before, a lot of the female characters are just not conscientiously designed. By the way, here's a good look at the Ant-Man. He's pretty cool with that little ant thing where he communicates with the ant. It's like... Shortly after they got together, the Ant-Man is like, whoa, look at those guys. Damn, can I possibly measure up? The answer, of course, is no. So he reversed his power and became the Giant Man. Oh, yeah, baby. No, shit's cooking. So that's the early version of the Avengers. The Hulk was quickly out, being who he is. With issue number 2, he turned against them. He fought them. He just couldn't handle hanging out with them, and he was out. And then, of course, with number 4, Captain America comes in, and we talked about him before. And anyway, that's the Avengers. At the same time that the Avengers comic started, there was a group that was fresh new characters for the most part. They were the X-Men. Now this packaging was the same as the packaging for this, because I remember these guys years ago and passing them up because first of all, they weren't to scale with each other, and the price was not right. But this time the price was. I got this at Zap Comics thing, and I'm an employee, so I got a little break off that. So, it was a good day. Anyway, let's open this sumbitch up. These are the X-Men, a very well-known group of mutants. What did I do with the box cutter? There it is. And this is their first appearance versions. They went through radical changes later on, after Kirby left, actually. Kirby didn't stay very long with that one. Have I been in view the whole time? I'm not paying attention to what's happening here. This is so unprofessional. Hey, how do you open this thing? Alright, maybe like this. Oh, damn it, son of a bitch, I made a mess over there. So, I think these are to scale with other figures I have, thank God for that. And we'll get the Beast out, because he's easy. Look at him. The Beast, ladies and gentlemen. He went through radical changes much later on. Oh, these are really cool. Oh, man, they really move well. They're very well machined, I guess, or whatever it is. The Beast. The Beast. Look at him. Look at those feet and hands. He's packing. Good Lord. And then there's the leader of the group, Slim Summers, the Cyclops. Getting you with his eye jammies. Well, okay. He doesn't do much but stand like that. Okay, well, all right. Well, he's gonna always have his legs open like that. That's the way he seems to prefer it. So that's him. Let's put him right there. Do you have room for these other guys? There's 5 of these guys in the X-Men. Then there was the Iceman. Come here, buddy. Wake up, wake up. There is the original version of the Iceman. Later on, they kind of sleekened his look a little bit to look more icy as opposed to frosty. And he was like the young guy of the group, and blah, blah, blah. They made a lot of fun with that. They had a lot of fun with that. And there he is, not really able to stand well. Okay, maybe these aren't great figures. How the hell are you supposed to do that? That doesn't make sense. Oh, okay, like that. Okay, it does make sense. I apologize to the makers of this stuff. I doubted them for a minute, but you know what? It's just not. It's not great. Who made this stuff, by the way? This was it? Oh, it was Toy Biz. Probably when that's Marvel had acquired Toy Biz to do their own thing. I don't know that before or after. Here is Marvel Girl in the first X-Men story. She is the last one to join. It's a bit thick in the thighs there, honey. But yeah, I just don't remember her being like, oh man, you know what? Why would they do that? It just doesn't make sense. If you can't bring the... Okay. There's the Marvel Girl. Telekinetic and telepathic. Or maybe she wasn't doing... Was she doing both back then? She went through some changes. We don't need anybody to get into that. But some shit happened. And of course the Angel. The Angel was the only name, at least from this group, that was being used before. There was a Golden Age character called the Angel. So he was a completely different animal from this guy, so to speak. The wings. These look really cool. Looks like the wingspan is going to be pretty damn big. Wow, look at that. Good lord. That's sweet. Again, he looks a little heavier than you'd think he would be or should be. But what are you going to do, man? Wow, look at that. That's pretty damn cool, actually, the wings. Yes, it is. Here we go. Get in there. Here we go. Nice stuff. Wow. Wait. Okay, there we go. That's much better. So there's the Iceman. This is the Angel. Hey, it's the Iceman. He can he stand up? He also has that same situation where one foot is he steps out. He has to be on tippy toes for some reason. Is anybody like that? No, just Angel and him. You know, so these are the X-Men. The original X-Men. They went through some changes. Stuff happens. But it's just some of the stuff that Kirby came up with in the... You better stand up. In the early 1960s. Marvel's Silver Age. I got a lot more Kirby stuff besides these. And I'll be looking at some of those too later on. But for now, that's all I got by way of Silver Age Marvel stuff. Of course, there were many other characters. Like you saw those other Avengers. And I guess that was everybody though, wasn't it? Anyway, those are the guys that I have. And I'll have more Kirby stuff coming up. I have tons of figures based on Kirby characters, which is easy because, you know, he created everything. So, join me for those eventually.